Hello, everyone. I'm Vanessa Grossel, Policy Analyst at the Council of State Governments. I am the staff liaison to our What's Next Embracing the Future subcommittee of CSG's Future of Work National Task Force. The subcommittee is focused on enabling access to essential technologies and ensuring worker financial security. I'm joined today by Sid Roberts, Director of Engineering on Microsoft's Airband initiative team based in Redmond, Washington. Sid has over 36 years of telecommunications experience, with 20 of those years directly in the wireless operator segment. The last 7 years at Microsoft, Sid has focused on bringing affordable internet access through telecommunications partners to rural, underserved parts of the US and emerging nations, so they can utilize Microsoft's cloud-based products, services, devices, and content. Working primarily with unlicensed fixed wireless technologies, including television white spaces, Airband is on the path to bringing 3 million people under their footprint in the US and 40 million people internationally by the summer of 2022. Before joining Microsoft, Sid designed and deployed low-latency microwave networks for high-frequency stock traders on Wall Street. And prior to that, he was the Vice President of Engineering at Open Range Communications, a company that leveraged WiMAX wireless technology to bring affordable internet connectivity to underserved and unserved communities in the United States, where he had end-to-end technical management responsibility for customer premise equipment, radio access network, backhaul engineering, and the IP core. He also spent 3 years as a director of engineering at a startup company, which was an MVNO that designed and deployed a voice over internet provider over Wi-Fi solution for consumers and others. Much of Sid's experience comes from nearly 15 years with McCall Cellular, AT&T Wireless, where he was Director of Radio Access Network Engineering and spent 7 years in the international division. During this tenure, he supported business development activities and managed design and deployment of GSM networks all around the world. In this role and others, Sid focused on the strategic aspects of the business, responding to RFPs, negotiating supplier contracts, and managing third parties to accomplish large wireless network design and implementation projects. And before coming to McCall AT&T Wireless, Sid spent 8 years in the defense industry with Rockwell International and Martin Marietta, now Lockheed Martin, designing and modeling high-frequency radio systems and satellite-based communications networks for the Strategic Defense Initiative. Sid has a BS in Electrical Engineering from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and an MS in Telecommunications Policy from the University of Denver. So impressive. Welcome, Sid. Please introduce yourself and give us an overview of Microsoft's Airband initiative.
Thanks very much, Vanessa, and the Council of State Governments team for including me in this webinar. I want to use this time to provide a brief overview of Microsoft's Airband program, which was formally announced in July of 2017 by our company president, Brad Smith, as an initiative designed to help close the rural broadband gap around the world. Indeed, for a company like Microsoft, it all begins with our mission statement to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. This is our statement of inclusion and diversity and an indication that we stand for the democratization of access to technology and that we want to be a force for good in the world and to bring positive impact to all and not just those in metropolitan urban areas. I say tongue-in-cheek that Airband team members don't draw a salary if we bring connectivity to any urban area. But for those in the know, there actually is a connectivity gap in some cities where the high cost of services excludes many people's but that is a different story entirely. This relatively new company mission statement is a dramatic change from our previous mission statement from the Bill Gates era, a company on every desk and in every home. Said today, that old statement is very finite and limiting and is certainly obsolete in the age of cloud-based services and computing. The Airband remit includes two major global challenges: internet access and energy access, which go hand in hand. Today, about half the world's population is not using the internet. This comes from an ITU data source from 2018, and more than 1 billion people lack access to electricity, a data point that comes from USAID research from 2019. For the remainder of this discussion, I am going to focus on the internet aspect. As our CEO, Satya Nadella, states, with no internet access, there is no cloud access, which is the statement that answers one of the most frequent questions I get about why Microsoft is playing in the affordable access space. For us, it is all about the cloud, as we are a cloud-based services company. People cannot appreciate all the products and services Microsoft is well known for without affordable and stable internet connection. Further, for an organization of our size and resources, it is also the right thing to do, kind of doing well and doing good at the same time, which is an outstanding way for us to apply ourselves.
Sid, can you quantify the digital divide in the United States?
Yes, let's look at some data to help quantify the digital divide. Some 21 million people lack access to broadband, which is defined as 25 megabits per second on the downlink by 3 megabits per second on the uplink by the FCC, and this is based on FCC's 2019 report. Of that 21 million, some 17 million people reside in rural unserved areas. In fact, we actually believe, based on our own sources of data, that this broadband gap is much worse, but we carry on with the FCC reports as a reference point.
So what is the Airband mission and how will you accomplish these objectives?
This is the Airband mission: to partner with radio equipment vendors, internet and energy providers, and local entrepreneurs to make affordable broadband access a reality for communities around the world. Our U.S. key performance indicator is to bring 3 million population under partner footprint through the internet service provider, referred to as ISPs, and wireless ISP partnerships, all in the rural unserved areas by July of 2022. Based on the partnerships we have signed to date, we are on path to achieve this key performance indicator, but the networks still have to be fully deployed over the term of the agreements. Similarly, our international key performance indicator, which was recently increased, is to bring 40 million population under coverage by July of 2022. There are several ways to achieve these objectives. Airband will incubate partnerships with ISPs and hardware providers. We will foster economic development in key broadband-enabled verticals, including precision agriculture, healthcare, education, and small business, all with the objective of establishing commercial, scalable, and sustainable ventures.
How can internet service providers engage with Airband?
Airband has two engagement models with ISPs: the ISP Partner Program and a Commercial Partner Program. The ISP Partner Program has multiple benefits. This program was designed for those ISPs, which in general are small operators that don't want to be encumbered by dealing with a large company like Microsoft. An ISP can join by a simple online sign-up procedure by navigating to the Airband website. Once signed up, ISP partners immediately have access to pre-negotiated favorable commercial terms for television white space, radio equipment, vertical assets from tower companies, fiber infrastructure facilities, and equipment and access to Microsoft reseller programs. Additionally, they receive preferential pricing on Azure-based business applications such as billing systems. And we have a rich portfolio of digital skills content and training for their customers. The commercial partnership program includes all of what I just mentioned, plus co-funding if necessary. If we invest co-funds in a project, we have to be paid back through a revenue sharing mechanism over a negotiated period of time. Some partners find this an attractive feature and others not so much. By the way, any revenues Airband earns are reinvested in similar connectivity programs. They also have access to technical expertise in telecommunications for me and my team. They have free access to Azure Solutions architecture consulting so ISPs can make maximum use of Azure cloud services for optimizing network operations. Last but not least, Microsoft has a very strong brand which can help partners with public relations, marketing, fundraising, and government advocacy at state and federal levels.
What do the networks typically look like, and what technologies come into play?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Vanessa. Airband Partners are ISPs. As such, they make use of a myriad of wired and wireless technologies to deliver broadband services. Microsoft advocates for the allocation of unlicensed spectrum, in particular, that helps facilitate affordable connectivity. This is compared to purchasing spectrum like the Tier 1 carriers do, which can be exorbitantly expensive in hard-to-reach rural areas with challenging terrain. Due to the advantageous propagation characteristics, television white space technology is a key solution in the internet connectivity toolkit. The very high frequency and ultra high frequency bands are powerful in this domain, and television white space technology simply makes use of the unlicensed and unoccupied TV channels within these bands for the provision of point to multi-point internet services. Television white space radio equipment has progressed greatly over the last several years, and the current generation of radios exhibit many of the same radio and networking features that other licensed and unlicensed radios already have. This technology is well suited for near and non-line of sight use cases and can complement mid-band installations on the same towers. Mid-band radios occupy the traditional fixed unlicensed bands in the 3 and 5 gigahertz range. Fundamental to any network design is an honest assessment of the coverage, capacity, and use case requirements, which in turn leads to the proper technology selections. Total cost of ownership modeling time and time again drives home the fact that television white spaces is very affordable in relatively low population density areas compared to other mid-band radio products. Check out the total cost of ownership based on households passed and connected metrics in such tools. While traditional high-speed internet service is very common, don't forget about the Internet of Things use case. Imagine a low-cost IoT or Internet of Things radio that can tune to these low-frequency bands and bring all that telemetry data into the cloud. That is a powerful thing. Microsoft is at the forefront of this kind of technology.
Thank you for joining us today, Sid, and thank you for your work. I appreciate you explaining this to us, and we appreciate you for making time to share your expertise, which will help to greatly inform the work of our subcommittee and the task force as a whole. I'm Vanessa Grossel at CSG headquarters in Lexington, and I've been speaking with Sid Roberts of Microsoft.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak today, Vanessa.